Welcome to another allotment diary. It's a bit windy up here today at the plot. We've had a bit of a storm last night. We didn't get as bad as parts of the country, but nonetheless we had quite a bit of rain. Not that you can really tell from the soil. The soil's absorbed it all. It's so very, very dry. But it'll be good because this is where the Winston potatoes were that I lifted the other day. Oh, they are so nice. I would really recommend those. They're a brilliant first early variety. They produce good sized potatoes. Now they're not particularly good as jacket potatoes microwaved, I will be honest, but they're fantastic to be chipped or roasted, and they're a good size potato rather than sort of the smaller new potato. I was very surprised by the quality of these, so I'm going to grow a lot more of those next year. These are the purple majesty. And they're starting, you can just see there, they're starting to succumb a little to the blight, very, very slightly. These are a blight resistant variety, and to be honest, they've done a fairly good job of resisting it, so I'm quite pleased with that. I did dig up a couple of plants yesterday just to check what they were like, and unfortunately they were quite small, and they weren't really satisfactory, so I'm going to leave them in for another week and then let the top start to die down, cut the flowers off. You can see they're flowering now, and that hopefully should give them a chance to swell up, particularly if we get the rain we're forecast over the weekends. Some flowers, they were kept too long in pots, which is why they're not particularly tall, but you've got a nice flower there. That one there, look, you've got a few flowers coming up on it, so very pretty. I'll grow more next year. I've got a giant variety which I'll put in next year, but I'm quite happy with those, to be honest. You know, they're not bad. The compost bins are doing well. You can see it's starting to come apart at the back there, so I'll sort that out. But it's rotting down nicely. There's an awful lot in there, and it needs a turn in the next couple of days. But it's really broken down quite nicely, and there's some good compost starting to form, so I'm quite excited to use that. And once I finish weeding everything, this big pile here, let's just step back a bit so you can see, this big pile here is going to be gradually moved into those, and then this will start having kitchen waste brought down from home and put in it, so it produces a slightly different type of compost with a lot of the micronutrients in, because obviously I put tea bags, eggshells and all that sort of thing in it. Now this space here, I've dug it over, de-stoned it and de-weeded it, and what I'm going to do is I've got a load of cauliflower and broccoli that's going to go in here, and they're called continuity packs, and they come from Sutton Seeds, I think it was. So basically they're going to provide cauliflowers and broccoli for about the next 6 months or so. So they're going to go in there and hopefully not be too attacked by slugs. Still got this patch here to clear. This patch here is going to become my winter potatoes. I'm just waiting for those to arrive, and they're going to go in here as soon as I've cleared it. So this is fairly high on the priority list. But the sweet corn, again, very late, but it's doing reasonably well, and I'll clear some space back there and other stuff can go in there too. The New Zealand yam, they've grown quite substantially, and you can see on that one there, just on the edges there's some more leaves coming up, so quite exciting. The onions, they keep, there's one in there, they're starting to swell up a little now, which is nice, but they keep producing these flower heads, so I just keep lopping them off, and that way they stop putting the energy into the flower and seeds, and it goes instead into the bulb, which is where I want it. Here we have the runner beans that I planted not too long ago. They weren't very happy about being replanted, but they've sort of got to grips with it all. Same with these cucumbers. They were very unhappy about being repotted, moved, but they seem to have cheered up a little, and they're doing okay. The courgette plants are tiny, but they've doubled in size. And surprisingly, and I must admit, I'm very surprised about this. This is one's blackberry and one's something else, and I can't remember what they are now. But they've really shot up in the last couple of months, or a couple of weeks, I should say. They've been tiny little plants, and they've obviously just suddenly gone yay and started growing. So they're looking quite nice. So hopefully to get a crop from those next year. The goji berry, it's not producing any fruit, but then I wasn't expecting it to do. But it shot up these bits here, which I've tied to stakes because it's very windy on our plot, as you can probably hear. They produce fruit from last year's growth, so I don't expect to see anything this year, but next year I'm hopefully going to see some flowers and hopefully start to get at least some fruit. Same with those gooseberries, they're not doing much at all, but they will do. The cauliflowers, you can see there, they're starting to shape up quite nicely, so I expect they'll start producing cauliflower heads shortly. Give it another few weeks. And for some reason this one in the middle, the ones around the outside, really, look at that, nice and strong, big plants, big plants, big plants, weedy little plants. So I don't quite know what's wrong with that one. It's been very, very unhappy since it's been put in, so I don't know what it is about that particular spot, but it's not impressed. But that's just the way it is. So there's going to be some more fruit plants in here next year, I imagine, anyway, so I'm not too worried, to be honest. Over there, some dwarf French beans. Bizarrely enough, I planted about 2 dozen seeds, and only 2 have actually come up, which is peculiar, so I've just shoved them in the middle there out the way. The rhubarb is, oops, let's go out. The rhubarb is looking fantastic. These were planted this year, and that one, if you remember, there was one that looked really ill and I thought was going to die. That was that plant, and it's looking very, very healthy. Some fantastic new growth on it, so I'm really pleased with that one. There's a marrow in the middle there. Again, it's not been happy since it's been replanted. I think the problem I've had with quite a few of these is I've kept doing pots a little bit too long, so when I've replanted them it's been a bit too much of a shock for them, so big lesson to learn for next year. Again, that rhubarb's doing well as well. Here's a rhubarb I moved from another plot to here this year, so this should have been harvested this year, which is why it looks slightly stronger, but it was very, very unhappy when I initially moved it. It really wasn't impressed, but it's perked up, and next year I'll be harvesting that as well. Now, my stone collection, I'm very proud of this. Look at these. There's 4 buckets there, there's another bucket there, and there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets of stones knocking around that I haven't got rid of. Plus, I've given 8 buckets of stones, I think it is, to another allotment holder who has used it as hardcore for a wall at home. So lots and lots of stones, and it's literally in a square metre I'm digging up half a bucket of stones, if not more. So it's ridiculous amounts of stones, and you can see, you know, they're not all teeny tiny. I mean, that's a fair sized boulder, you know, and you've got a brick there, you know, that's quite an interesting shaped brick. But you've got brick, you've got interesting sorts of stones like this. I think that one's very nice. It's got a vein of quartz going through it, but lots and lots of stones. So I'm not sure what to do with those yet. What I'm tempted to do, as you see where I've got these boards going along the outside and the telegraph poles, so I'm tempted to stack the stones up along here and kind of make a real good barrier, and use those as a sort of decorative edging almost to the plot, because I've got so many of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. They're everywhere. They're ridiculous. This is the bit I'm clearing at the moment. This is going to be have a tarpaulin over it. It's going to have bark on it, and it's going to have strawberry planters. There's going to be 6 strawberry planters on here, each one holding about 70 to 80 strawberry plants. So there's going to be a lot of strawberries, and all the pine berries are going to come over here. So I'm likely to have 2 pine berries, 4 strawberries. though one of them may become a herb planter. I haven't decided yet. But you can see there I've started to clear it up. I have found some nice new potatoes in there amongst the garbage, so that's been quite pleasant. I've been taking those home and eating them. They're very, very tasty. Now you'll remember, not the weeds. The weeds are just coming up at a phenomenal rate. They really are. You remember a few weeks ago I planted this bed. This is my salad bed, and all those at the back are beetroot, and they were teeny tiny plants that look very, very unhappy. And you can see them now. They're brilliant. They're big size. They're growing nicely, and let's just go and have a look. Look, you can see they're starting to swell and starting to produce roots, and you've got weeds absolutely everywhere. The weeds are by far my best crop. They do fantastically every year, and you can see there, look, can you see that? That's one of my radishes starting to come up. They've been nibbled somewhat by slugs, but hey ho, that's the joys of life. Now the beetroot variety is a golden beetroot. I do like red beetroot, but I don't like the fact that I end up dyeing my hands red, and my kitchen looks like a scene out of CSI Miami or something. So I don't particularly like that about beetroot, but I do love beetroot. So I grow the golden variety, and I must admit it's really, really tasty. I absolutely love it. It's the best variety as far as I'm concerned. Now on the left there is a mixed leaf lettuce, which is looking very tasty, and there's some rocket, and then over the back there, let's just zoom in, those are spring onions, which are coming up quite nicely. So I'm using quite a lot of those in my cooking at the moment, so looking forward to all this coming up. Yes, I know it's all very, very late, but you can see there's some more radishes in there. I know it's very late, but it is coming up, and it is doing the job. So I know it's middle of July, but even middle of July, you can still get your salad crops in. They're very quick to produce, and very nice. Now these are the raspberries that basically just annoy me. They have produced some nice raspberries. Let's have a look. I'll just eat that, so excuse me. Oh, very nice. So they're quite nice raspberries actually, but these grow through runners, so they're getting everywhere. They really are. They're really annoying me. So these pots have got stones in. They're going to be filled with soil, and these go into those pots, and then I'll put them somewhere. I'll put them over here, and they can go under paths and use some little decoration. My peas are finally starting to produce. You've got some up there that are quite nice size, and you've got some over here that are much smaller, but they are starting to produce peas, which is the main thing. The apple tree is doing nice, as is the green goat, so it needs digging out, so I'm going to have to dig that plot out. But I really want to get stuff cleared over there, because I've got some chili and guava plants that I want to put down between those two beds. They're getting pot bound, so they desperately need going in. This is the decorative edge. Got a fig tree there that needs moving over a bit, I think, and the bay tree, which I said I wanted to grow another few feet, and then it's going to be bushed out. But what I'm probably going to do here is I'm going to finish clearing it in the next week or so, and then I'm going to get some lavender plants. I've got a load of plug plants, but the plug plants are probably about that big, and they're going to take a couple of years to mature. But I know I think this weekend Aldi are getting a load of lavender plants in, and they're big size plants, and they're not too expensive. So I wanted probably four or five of them to go along here, just to attract bees in, really. So let's walk over to the other side, see what we have over here. It's very, very windy today, and there's a big forecast for storms over the weekend, so I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen and how much time I'll get down here over the next few days, but we will have to see. Right, what have we got here? We've got a leek there that's seeding. That's celery that's seeding. There's Love in the Mist, the blue flowers over there. You got poppies, and then you've got the butternut squash which is starting to come across quite nicely. That's looking pleasant, and the pumpkins are starting to go for it. Now you'll remember not too long ago I planted these and they were little weedy looking plants, and look, I mean that's tripled in size if not more. So I just want to try and guide it, same with this one, I want to try and guide them to go along this way. So I'll use stakes and the like to sort of ensure they push along. That one's not doing too badly either, that one's certainly increased. And this one, which was eaten by slugs, it seems to be, I'm going to have to call it Lazarus, because it seems to be making a comeback. Either that or I'll call it status quo. But it's doing brilliantly. Lots of weeds again, I need to replant this. Potatoes are cropping up all over the place over here. You know, but this needs me to come and really dig it over again. But my time's very, very limited, unfortunately. Alright, the pine berries, which frankly seem to have been some sort of snail mating ground. Look, there we are. Look at the bloody size of those stupid things. It's absolutely full of snails, this unfortunately. But the downside is they're so close together and they've gone so crazy that they're not producing any fruit whatsoever, which is a real shame because I like pine berries. They've got a very delicate taste. So all these are going to have to come out because I need to get into that corner there. Again, look, you can see there's a potato, there's parsley, there was a blueberry bush in there and all sorts. So that needs all sorting out. But the composting in here, this is going very slowly. Now the trouble with composting in one of these is that you can't turn the compost. Compost needs air to do the composting. The bacteria in it will die if it doesn't have enough oxygen to keep the reaction going. So what you'll find in these black bins is they're very, very slow to compost because of that. So you need to sort of shove your fork in and twist it around, or there is a specific compost turning tool you can buy for them if you want that does the job, and actually does it quite nicely. It sort of goes in, you press a button, some prongs come out, then you pull it up and it turns the compost. But if you're not turning your compost, then expect the reaction to really slow down, and it's take a long time to compost. So you can see there lots of dead soil. I don't know whether these pumpkins are actually going to be able to ripen before Halloween. I've given them every head start I can, so we're just going to have to really wait and see. But I mean, we can look up at the sky there and we can see there's a lot of clouds moving along. So how long we're going to have nice rain, nice weather, I don't know. It does look like there's going to be some fairly significant rain over the next couple of days, but it's all looking good. Stuff is growing, and that rhubarb just never seems to stop producing. Stuff is growing, it's producing nicely, and frankly I'm really pleased with it, so very excited. And check out the blog, I'm going to put some more articles on there, some recipes for you, and that's going to help you get the most from your allotment. But we're going nicely, going well. There's a raspberry bush hiding over there. So lots to do today, a bit more clearing. I might come over and hoe this side, but as I'm not feeling particularly brilliant, and bending over is unpleasant for me at the moment. What I'm probably going to do is just clear a little space over there and then come back and sort this one out properly, because there's a lot that needs doing on this, but really this is going to be a winter project, because these are going to be moved, so the strawberries, and it's really going to be tidied up ready for next year. Dig a load of manure in, and I'll probably be planting potatoes next year in that corner where the strawberries are, because I've never planted them over there yet. But it's all looking good. I'm pleased. I know I'm late, I know I'm not as productive as a lot of other allotment holders, but you know, that's just the way life goes. Sometimes you can't do it as quickly as you want to, which is a crying shame, but there are more important things in life, and for me at the moment I've got to make taking care of my son the priority, and this is just done as and when I can. But I'm keeping on top of it, as well as many of the other plot holders. Yeah, I might not have as much in the ground, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'm pleased with what I managed to get out of it. So I'm off to harvest some rhubarb, and do some digging, and I will see you soon in another video. I'll update you soon on the plants at home and the cute baby aubergine. Leeks are a favourite vegetable, and you can see here these are ones that I have started off in pots. They've got a bit too big, to be really honest with you, in the pots, and need to be put in the ground. Now, leeks are brilliant because they will last often over winter, providing it's not too cold. They will survive over winter, and the next year you'll get the crops. I picked a lot of my leeks back in March this year, and they were ones I planted last year, so can't grumble at them. So I've got quite a few leeks, and I've got my onions here. I was going to plant more onions in here, but the leeks have to go in the ground, so I'm going to put the leeks in here, and then the onions can go behind the sweet corn next to me. Now, the bit on a leek that you really want to eat is this white bit. The white bit's the bit most people want, and the way you get a good white bit is to plant the leek fairly deep in the ground. Now, what a lot of people do is they plant them quite shallowly, because they are quite shallow rooted plants, and you end up with a tiny bit of white and then the rest of it's green. Now, if you really like the white parts of your leek, what you can do is you can get some pipe that's about sort of 3 inches across, cut it to about 8-9 inch lengths, put that in the ground over the leek. So what I do is I put my leek in like that, and then I put the pipe over the top, and that would encourage the white part to grow higher, and you get more of it. And that's how people who enter competitions, that's how they grow their prize-winning leeks. And they're grown in tubes from near the bottom, so you've got a nice long white bit. There is a competition-winning variety. I think it's called Mammoth. You can find it on most of the seed sites easily enough. So I'm going to get some leeks in at the moment. I decided that I'm not going to dig over any more of the plots. I've got to get these in the ground so that they can start sort of swelling up and take advantage of the rain over the next few days. So the way I do it is I dig a decent sized hole. You can see here we've got a reasonable sized hole. I've removed all the stones from the bottom of it. We then just put the leek plant in, and then we'll just sort of put in the soil and firm it up, obviously making sure the plant was upright, which is a bit hard to do one-handed. Basically like that, so a decent amount of it's underground, and then you get the good white part of it that we like to eat. So I've got what, about half a dozen of this variety. This variety is Musselburgh, very popular variety. Yeah, there it says on here, extremely popular variety with a proven track record for winter performance. Leeks can be dug from October through to late March. So there you are. So yeah, plant them a bit away. So yeah, that's how you put the leeks in. It's really simple, it really is. And like I said, they're a good wet veg to leave in over winter, so you've got a relatively productive plot. Same with a lot of the onions, you can put those in over winter as well. And what I'll have to do is I'll record a video soon on the variety of plants that you can overwinter in your allotment, so that you're not just looking at bare soil and you're still getting something productive from your plot.